One of the quiet fears beneath change is the fear of losing yourself. That if you change too much, you won't recognize who you are anymore. This fear rarely shows up directly. It appears as hesitation, as overthinking, as a subtle resistance to taking the next step. We worry that change means replacement, that growth requires abandoning the person we've been, so we stall. Not because change is hard, but because identity feels fragile. When people try to change by rewriting their identity, everything becomes unstable. Every action feels loaded. Every decision feels like a referendum on who they are becoming. This creates an identity crisis where none is needed. Instead of asking, "What should I do next?" the question becomes, "Who am I now?" That question is too large to answer mid-transition. Identity crises stall growth because they demand certainty at the exact moment when experimentation is required. Growth needs movement. Identity crises demand definitions. Those two rarely coexist peacefully. Most meaningful change is behavioral, not existential. You adjust what you do, your routines, your responses, your patterns, but you remain recognizably yourself. The problem begins when behavior is treated as proof of identity. If you miss a habit, you don't just see a lapse, you see a flaw in who you are. If you succeed, you don't just see progress, you feel pressure to maintain a new label. This makes change brittle. Behavior can fluctuate. Identity shouldn't have to. Separating the two creates stability. Identity is not something you manually edit. It updates through repetition, through patterns that hold long enough to become familiar. You don't decide, "I am now this kind of person." You notice later that your behavior has been consistent for long enough to feel natural. That's when identity shifts, quietly, without ceremony. When you try to force identity change, you rush this process. When you allow behavior to lead, identity follows at its own pace. No announcement required. Healthy change preserves continually. You should still feel like yourself while doing things differently. If change feels like erasure, something is off. Continuity doesn't mean stagnation, it means coherence. You're not becoming someone else. You're expressing yourself differently under new conditions. This perspective removes pressure. You don't have to perform a new identity. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to explain it. You just continue with slightly altered behaviors until they feel normal. Change doesn't require a new identity. It requires new behavior applied consistently enough to stabilize. Identity is not the engine of change. It's the record of it. You change what you do repeatedly, quietly, and over time, identity updates to reflect reality. Not because you forced it, but because it had a reason not to. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to keep going as yourself.